the kids around Georgia popped out of bed the past couple days looking for snow, I popped out of bed this morning knowing that I was going to come here to introduce this guy, to be the opening act to introduce Dr. Bob Meadows. I'm going to take you back about 8 years to when I started at Virginia Tech, when Dr. Bob hired me there as a new assistant professor and extension specialist. And I want to just share a couple of stories about Dr. Bob before I turn the mic over. And it's all appropriate, it's all good stuff. I can't look at him without smiling all the time. I mean, even if he told me a serious story, I would just smile because the enthusiasm really is contagious. And I think, Dr. Bob, that is the bumper sticker that ought to be on your car, is that enthusiasm is contagious. And I remember when I first started at Virginia Tech, I was sitting in my office there, and Dr. Bob would often come by every morning and wave hey to everybody, walking down the hall with a coffee mug that said Bubbly Bob on it. And the longer that I got to know him, the more I realized, man, there is no better way to describe Dr. Bob Meadows than Bubbly Bob. I mean, that's just the perfect slogan. So I remember this morning I was sitting in my office and I was starting to work on a grant because, you know, we've got to get external funds to support what we're doing. And Dr. Bob had come in and he said, hey, buddy, what are you doing this morning? I said, I'm working on a grant. And he said, hey, don't take it for granted. And I'm not kidding you, every time I work on a grant, I can hear you in mind, hey, don't take it for granted. And I sit there and just smile and laugh, and it was just, you know, you may not realize that one little line, I've thought about you for the past 8 years or so, don't take it for granted. Whatever you do, don't take it for granted. So I'm working on this grant. I remember a couple of weeks later, we were riding somewhere in Virginia, and I learned of the depth of his knowledge about the Civil War. It's just incredible. And even this morning, sitting together at the table for a couple minutes, learning what he knows about that. And not only what he knows, but the way that he shares that story. There's a magic to the way that Dr. Bob shares a story. And if you've ever seen him around a campfire, there's a magic to that too. And that singing and that ability to tell that story. That's a real gift. That's not something everybody has, and I think he's shown others how to have that gift. I remember one other day, months later in the office there, he had come by my desk and said, hey, Nick, when you get a chance, come down to my office, I want to talk to you. So I thought, oh, I hope I didn't screw anything up. You know, I'm going to go down, and I walked into your office, and you said, I just wanted to tell you that 7 months from today is Christmas. Just want to let you know. And I thought, that's great. And I just went, and that just totally changed my outlook for the whole day. In 7 months, it'll be Christmas. And I have started doing that. If I look at, like yesterday, I looked at the calendar, gosh, it was February 25th. So 10 months, and it'll be Christmas. And I think I said that to somebody yesterday, and they looked at me and thought, well, I'll be darned, it sure will. And they smiled and walked. But those kinds of things, I have been changed. And although I was only at Virginia Tech for about a year, at that time really changed me because of the interactions I had with Dr. Bob. So it is such a pleasure this morning to stand up here and get a chance to turn the podium over to Dr. Bob Meadows. So y'all ready to hear him?
We are.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good memories. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Let's all stand up. I want to say to you before we start today, it's a great day to be alive in the peach state of Georgia. Yes. Give a round of applause for Georgia. As much as possible, let's make an oval circle around the table. You don't have to hold hands. It's all right if you do. It's all right if you do. I like to sing. We're going to do a song we haven't done as a total group today, so we're going to do a song. It goes like this. Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you. Let's say that.
Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you.
Shake another hand and sing this song.
Shake another hand and sing this song.
Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you.
Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you.
Shake another hand.
Shake another hand
and sing this song.
and sing this
I'll
song.
sing it one time too. It goes like this. Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you. Shake another hand and sing this song. Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you. Shake another hand and sing. Sing this song, then we'll stop and go. La 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 la. Hold it, hold it. On one voice. You should be drowning me out. Let's do it. Shake another hand, shake a hand next to you. Shake another hand next to you. Person next to you, all kinds. Another one that's a good one is bump another rump of the person next to you. You have to be careful. Make sure you know your kids first. I want to say to you this morning, some things I want to be serious about and some things are fun. Camping is the greatest thing that I know of as far as an activity. It changed my life. I delivered newspapers when I was a boy. I had a morning route and a night route. And I remember walking through snow when I knew how many days it was till camp. And I knew that the money I was earning was going to pay my way. I didn't find out till years later. My grandmother, when my dad was on strike in the coal mines, my grandmother actually worked in the kitchen so that my brother and I could go to camp. Found that out years later. I want to share 3 stories with you quickly. This past summer I did 5 camps. I'm retired, but I'm not dead. 5 camps. I did 4 military family camps, and I did 1 Camp Corral, which I plan to do again this year. And I'm also going to 4-H camp with my 4-H agent this year. The funny thing is, this little girl was there named Layla, 6 years of age. She came up to me and says, "Bubbly Bob, can I teach a song at campfire?" "How in the world are you going to turn down a 6-year-old girl?" I said, "Honey, what song do you want to sing?" She said, "It's a secret." I said, "Can you tell me? Because I want to make sure it's appropriate." And she told me, and I said, "Sure." So that night she got up in front of the entire camp with all those families and sang, "A sailor went to CCC." Y'all know the song. A sailor went to CCC to see what he could see, and all that he could see was the bottom of the deep blue sea. Simple song. She sang that. Confidence. I said, I've got teens that don't have that much confidence. Later on in the camp, I played a communication game, and I had this chair very fancily decorated. And after lunch we went down, we used the activity that morning. I hadn't taken the decorations off, and a little boy sitting in that chair. She said, "That is not your chair. That chair belongs to Bubbly Bob." And he said, "I'm just sitting here for a while." And she said, "Bubbly Bob will not be pleased." he said, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. She said, a minute is a long time. Later on that evening, I saw her walking down, and she said to someone else, she didn't know I was around, she says, you know, someday when Bubbly Bob retires or dies, I'm going to take his job. I hope she does. He's 6 years of age. Isn't it amazing? We have those in our life that make a difference to us and have had a great influence on us. My father was a coal miner in West Virginia. That's where I was born and raised. My father worked 632 feet down and 17 miles back. In my junior year of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought about going into the mines, make good money. I thought about joining the military. I thought all kinds of things. And my father was a very smart man, although he only had a 10th grade education. During vacation, being a foreman in the mines, he could take people into the mines. He took my brother and me in the mines. Let me tell you something. 632 feet down is a long way. The Washington Monument's only 555. And we kept going and going and going. I thought we'd never hit the bottom. And he walked us back about a mile, and suddenly he did something that really shook me. He turned off his lantern. The quietest quiet and the darkest dark I ever experienced in my life. I could see nothing. After a long hesitation, he said these words very softly. You want to work here, or do you want to go to school? That day I was a convert. I didn't know what I was going to study, but I know one thing. I didn't want to work in those mines. I was the first in my family to be blessed to go to college. The rest is history. But my dad said to me years later, son, you have a job you love. I never loved the mines, but I had to put food on the table, clothes on your back, and provide you a place to live. Folks, don't take for granted those kinds of things. And the thing is, you and I have that potential to be an influence to somebody else. I asked concerns today, and I'm going to share those with you. But let me say to you, it was a privilege for me to be on the initial planning team that started CEEI. We actually organized our team in 1990. It's quite a while back. Some of you weren't born probably in 1990. But we organized a team, and what we wanted to do was have a national camping institute. Let me say to you ahead of time, we always included environmental education, even though it wasn't in the title. From the get-go, we had environmental education. Barry Fox, one of our outstanding specialists, made sure that we did, as we needed to do. And we had a fantastic experience. It was snowing. I saw a man outside with his mouth wide open, catching snowflakes, because it's in February. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm from Florida. I've never seen snow. It's kind of cool. Remember the salt-saturated cars? But we had two goals and objectives. We had several, but the two major ones were these. Number one, to put emphasis on camping, the importance of it, because folks, people have got to see it more than just a recreational facility. If you cannot document or prove that we're more than recreation, we better get out of the business. And the other one was to bring the brightest and best ideas on camping to one location to help better prepare volunteers, extension agents, extension specialists, center directors, and anyone else on the importance of camping. And so that has been a plus, and I'm glad that we continue to do that. You've had some outstanding workshops this week. The bad thing is we can't go home and describe our experiences. They're our experiences. They're not anyone else's. It's hard to go home and tell someone all those things, but it's important that we do. I've had the nickname for Bubbly Bob for a long time. I like that name because it does. I do have a sign, Nick, that says, I am subject to bursts of enthusiasm. It's given to me, Sam, by one of our agents who died of cancer, Kelly Cogsdale. He was on my first staff. But it's been my privilege, folks, to direct 3 of the CEEI events. I was a director of actually 3 of those. And we had folks from all over. We've had folks from Oregon. We've had folks from California. We've had folks when their state did not support their program that took their own money and came so that they would not drop their camping program. That's been very important. As I said, I was somebody in camp, and my favorite camp today, think about yours. How many never went to camp as a child? Never went. A few of us, okay? How many can think back about a camp that was your favorite place? Yeah. Good thoughts, aren't they? My favorite camp to this day is my camp where I spent my childhood, Camp Summers, in Summers County, West Virginia. Camp Caesar also is in that category. I was the agent there. They just celebrated their 92nd birthday last year. And of course, our 4-H centers where we are. There's a man named Frank Chenery that posed 4 important questions that we ought to be addressing, and we'd better be addressing them. Here they are. Is camp worth the cost in dollars, staff time, and disruption to family and school? You better answer that question. Be prepared for that. Second one that people are asking, is camp educationally sound? One of the grantors, when I went to see him and asked for funds, I said to him, tell me right now, what do you think we're doing in our camping program? He says, nothing bad. Teaches some kids some softball and boating, and that's about it. That concerns me. I said to that man, read my proposal and see what's going on, and then I want you to come out to visit. We were able to get funding for 5 years from that person, and when I left, my successor got 5 more years of that grant. We're hoping to get some more. But we've got to answer those questions. Here's the next one. Is camp safe? We better make sure that our camp is safe. Here's an important one, probably more than the others. What do camps do that an activity at a playground or a school or a daycare center might do? In other words, why should we send kids to camp when we already have these activities? Those are the things that we need to be concerned about. As an administrator, I've been in a position where I've had to defend the camping program. I know my history, and I went to see a person who had just become our extension director. And I said to him, sir, you're the 11th director of cooperative extension in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I know what your predecessors have done. What kind of support may I count on for you supporting our camping program? He said this to me, Bob, you know I'm going to support you. But let me keep this on your mind. You're one extension director away from having camp to be devalued. That shook me. Years went by, he retired. Got another candidate for an extension director from a western state who didn't know anything about camping. And I was asked to have lunch with that man to ask him some questions. And I said, sir, if you are appointed as our new extension director, what kind of support may I count on from you in our camping program? And this is what he said to me. What's significant about camping anyway? I said, well, see that gentleman over there eating in the dining hall? I said, that man's on the board of one of our centers. He's a Commonwealth attorney in Virginia, and he's also on the center board. And I said, see that man paying his bill? He's the current president of one of our centers and has given a lot of money to our camping program. And I started to explain. He said, well, I guess I need to talk to the agriculture agents and see if it's important or not. That's no insult to the agriculture agents, folks, but it puts it in perspective. And fortunately, that man did not get the job in our state. I'm concerned when I hear that people are getting out of the camping business. If you don't know that, Cleveland, Ohio area, the Girl Scouts have decided to sell their camps. And that should shake you, but see, what they see is all that money and what that property is worth. And it's a short-term solution to a financial problem. Here's what's going to happen. Once the money's gone, those people are not going to be in positions of leadership anymore. They'll be gone. You know, my concern is camping's going forever. By the way, you think that we're safe in 4-H. I can tell you some states right now that have sold all their camps. I know of a very powerful camp, very well-known camp in the southern region that they were having a secret meeting to sell the camp. Fortunately, a colleague of mine who was a big supporter of camping went to the board meeting uninvited to make sure it didn't happen. That's why we have to document. That's why we need to do the evaluations, Nick. Not on everything, but we need to show evidence that camping makes a difference. Would you not agree? The former president of Harvard University said that the greatest contribution to the American education system was the summer camp. He also made this statement, that 2 weeks of summer camp, you get more done than you can a year in a formal classroom. That is what we need to be selling. What you've learned here is very, very important. In my state, we had a county that lost their 4-H agent left. So a family consumer science agent took over for the camping program because kids had already been recruited, and so she went to the camp. I happened to be visiting that camp, and she said this to me: why are we putting ourselves through this ordeal? I could be home in an air-conditioned house, watching color television, and in a queen-size bed. I said, you know, you're exactly right, you could. Camping's not for you. Camping's for these kids. I said, do you realize that sometimes it's the only vacation the child ever gets? Do you realize that this camp, we're getting 3 meals a day, and many of these kids don't get 3 meals a day? And do you realize that this camp, many of those kids don't have air conditioning, and many of them don't have a queen-size bed? And bless her heart, she got it. And she became a big supporter. That concerns me when we have our own folks that way. Had another agent said to me, I wish we just do away with camp and have virtual camping. That's when virtual programs started coming out. Well, you know, you don't have the experiences. I can sit in that computer and have a virtual camp, but I'm not learning to be with others. And the life changes that take place in their life. Folks, these are our colleagues. These aren't other organizations, these are our own folks. By the way, when we started the National Camping Institute, we didn't do it just for 4-H. We also invited scouts, YMCA, church leaders, and many of them have come over the years, because all of us have that common bond of the camping program, what it is and what it means. If I name the agent today, some of my colleagues here in Virginia would know that agent. The agent doesn't like camp. But you know what I like about that agent? She knows what it does for kids, and she supports the program, and she gets the numbers out. She fills camp every time because she knows what it does for kids. That's the importance. In my years at Airfield Center, 4-H Center, and one of our centers, I had a policy, unless an administrator was down to see me, I ate breakfast with my staff to go over the details of the day, and the other 2 meals I ate with kids. We need to be close to the customer, do we not? And it's important to find out what's really going on. And some of you've heard this story before, but it's one that really had a great effect on me. This little 9-year-old girl came up to me and says, Bubbly Bob, will you sit at my table? I said, honey, I've already sat at your table once. She says, you'll understand, I've got to talk to you. How are you going to turn down a little brown-eyed girl, 9 years of age, begging you to sit at her table? So I agreed to sit at the table. It wasn't round like this, Dad. It was a rectangle table. And she's sitting there like this with her hands holding her head up, watching me. And I happened to notice, and I said to her, honey, aren't you hungry? She says, Bubbly Bob, do you need a new wife? Straight out. I was much younger then, and I said, I'm very flattered. But I said, honey, I'm too old for you. Look at all these boys. She says, no, no, no. My mama needs a husband. That got me. When I realized that that girl thought I was good enough to be a father to her, it really got me. By the way, that girl contacted me several times just to see how I was doing. I'm sure she's an adult somewhere living some, I don't know. I hope she turned out to be a neat kid. I don't even remember her name. I wish I did. But that experience I wouldn't have had if I had to sit down with that table with that little girl. Folks, that's what it's all about. And to think of the thousands of kids that we get to see in programs, and we see them. I could write a book, and I need to someday, on just the experiences. But the thing is, those are the opportunities you and I have right now. We need to convey that to our volunteers. We need to convey that with our team counselors. We need to convey that with everyone involved in camping, that by golly, camping is worth the time. It is educationally sound, it is safe, and the thing is, we can do more than what kids get at a playground or daycare center or those sort of things. That's why, and I make no apologies for preaching to the choir, it improves the harmony. And we need to be improving the harmony because we're all in this together. Let me encourage you, network with each other. When things get tough for me, I think back about camp. That's where my memories are, of the good things. So you've got a whole networking opportunity, and I want to say this as well. Don't let the National Camping and Environmental Education Institute die. It's important that we keep on. By the way, just to give you a quick history, you need to know this. There was no place for us with NAE 4-HA, National Association of Extension 4-H Agents. They did not want camping there for a while. That's why we started it too. There was no place for us except under the Educational Design Committee. So we had to fight those battles too. And so I want to thank you for letting me be with you this week. It was a great experience for me, and I hope you learned something this week, and I hope that my talk with you helped you, because I believe in the program. And camping is worth everything we do. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
This groundwork. So one more time, Dr. Meadows. Please accept this small token of our appreciation for your time and that wonderful message and inspiration for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hard to follow y'all. We don't intend to follow it with much. Once again, to all of you for giving your time this week, we appreciate more than anything that that's one of the hardest things to give, is to come and be here. And we hope it's been a positive experience. It certainly has been for us. We value what y'all have brought to Georgia. We have learned a lot. We have enjoyed meeting you, and we look forward to what this will do for us in our profession. So thank y'all for being here.
I told y'all I can get long-winded. Melanie and I swore we would just get up, speak up, shut up, get y'all out the door. But there are a couple of things that I do want to share with you. Number one is I thought of another announcement. When I was going through Sutton Hall a while ago, and this may have been taken care of already, there were 2 posters remaining. Have those been picked up?
I did not notice.
There were 2 posters. So if you have not gotten your posters from the poster session, there are 2 posters, or were. You may have already gotten them by now. Just 3 quick things I want to say. Number one, thank you. we're really humbled and we're very appreciative of those of you who have come up and thanked us for doing this conference. But thank you. You taught the seminars, you brought the posters, you made yourselves open and available to share with each other. And it is through that networking that I hope we can accomplish what Bubbly Bob has set before us, and that's to keep this program alive and to keep this group committed to continuing to make 4-H camping and environmental education happen in our states. The second thing I'd like to say is, some of you probably know, but the word colleague is from the Latin collega, which means literally partner in office, okay? Other synonyms for colleague are teammate, ally, and collaborator. I don't know if any of you will ever have the opportunity at any level to partner with Melanie Byersmith on anything, but she is an excellent teammate, ally, and collaborator, and everyone in Georgia knows it, and some of you who've worked with her know it. And I would be less than honest if I didn't say she was the driving force behind this, and I was just there with her to go, yeah, let's do that. So it was a pleasure not only working this out with you, and I really enjoyed it. And thank you for your leadership on behalf of the whole committee. And then finally, Bubbly Bob, it's interesting that you should ask the question, is it worth it? Because I had to make a presentation to the Georgia 4-H Advisory Committee, a group of our influential supporters and others, and that's basically the question I came to in my presentation. My last question: for all the effort we put into this, is it worth it? And this is the letter I read that I hope you will agree, as they did that day, that it's worth it. Dear Mom and Dad, Grandmas and Papas, thank you for helping me earn money to go to Rock Eagle last year. Grandma helped me bake goodies for my bake sale, and Papa helped us wash cars at our car wash that my friends and I had. Plus, they helped me sell onions. I plan on earning most of the money again this year too, because I really want to go again. My Mimi Joyce has already hired me to help her do her paperwork for her taxes. And Nana Mary paid me a penny for each pine cone I picked up. So I've already earned part of the money to go. Everyone, I really want to go to Rock Eagle this year. I had more fun there that week than I've ever had in my life. I promise to keep my grades up and not forget to do my chores. I love you all very much. Folks, we can get hung up a lot of times in the aspects of our job that make it feel like a job. But how blessed are all of we to be able to bring this type of opportunity to young people and create an opportunity that young people would be this willing to work for. So, go out and do your good work. Yes. One final announcement. Ms. Terry was able to open the canteen. Some had expressed an interest in going by there before you left, so thank you, Ms. Terry, for getting the canteen open. The canteen is open. Ma'am?
First, I want